coming to today's session. So I'm Zoe and I'm one of the senior account managers at A Million Ads. And unfortunately Emma couldn't join us today, but we do have some video footage of her. So we'll be able to take you through our dynamic approach for Under Armour, looking at personalised audio and video. So why personalisation and why is that so important? Personalisation is so important because it's part of our human evolution, right? As humans, we are processing 40 million bits of information per second, but only 1 millionth of that is processed consciously. So our subconscious is always looking for filtering and prioritising all of this information for personal relevance. So like me calling Ollie your name in a presentation, grabbing your attention, or me asking the question, is it coming home after last night's football match? So really, decision making is done due to all of those emotions and feelings at a subconscious level. And consumers are really demanding personalisation more than ever before. We did a bit of research recently, which I'll go on to just after this slide, and actually consumers are willing to exchange their data for higher value exchanges and better ad experiences. And I think gone are the days of my nan saying, Zoe, how does the internet know so much about me? You know, they are slowly fading out. So what does that personalised research actually look like? And we work with our third-party supplier called a test, and what we found was 56% of consumers prefer personalised ads, looking at their current context. And no wonder, you know, if you're listening or viewing an ad and it's absolutely nothing to do with your likes or your dislikes, you instantly want that ad off or you want to stop listening. 77% of those people get annoyed, just like me, as I've mentioned, and no wonder. And 55% of people would actually consider buying a product or a service after hearing a personalised ad. So clearly, personalisation has such an effect over someone's decision making. So that's why us at A Million Ads, we have created a browser-based tool that allows for personalised audio and video creative at scale. And I think scale here is the really important word to think about, because in the past, we've always thought about targeting audiences. And yes, absolutely, we can do that, but we can now take it that one step further. So we can leverage all of that contextual data that we have at our fingertips. So it really is a creative corridor of opportunity. So I want to tell you a little bit around why audio and video are the perfect match. So me as a consumer, I'm constantly switching between platforms. This morning, I listened to my Spotify playlist that I've imaginatively called Feel Good, and I was watching my favourite series last night, which is Jeremy Clarkson's The Farm. I would definitely recommend it if you've not been watching. And audio and video are two great mediums for sustaining and creating that emotional connection. There's something called audio-visual transfer, and if you haven't heard about it, I'm going to tell you anyway, so you're about to know what it is. And the audio-visual transfer is the emotional impact that both mediums have on our memory. So it really helps us match what we see with what we hear and vice versa. So let me show you a little bit what I mean. Hopefully the audio plays. Lovely. Unless you've been living under a rock, you will know that that is the sound of McDonald's. And when you hear that sound, you can probably automatically visualise the logo. And you may ask me, Zoe, why is that so important? And it's so important because if what you see doesn't match with what you hear and vice versa, then your brand will struggle to create those strong brand identity and connections that are so important. It's absolutely key for you and your brand to have that unified AV strategy, an AV approach with a coherent, consistent creative that transcends the media channel. So what did we actually do for Under Armour? We did exactly that, right? So we started with our digital audio campaign, looking at lots of contextual data that we had at our fingertips, which I'll go into a little bit later. And once we, really started to build out that audio campaign, we said, why aren't we doing this in the video space? And we used Under Armour's assets that they already had and added some more in, matching it with the audio. So, you're really making the best out of the media budget, the creative budget, and making better bloody ads, because that's what we want to see as an industry, right? So let me show you a little bit more about what I mean. But before I do that, I want to hand over to Emma, who, for the love of tech, we have a video of her, and she will take you through the objectives that Under Armour had in mind.
So to give you some background, what we wanted to achieve for this campaign was, in a nutshell, to drive awareness of Under Armour as an authority in the running category, and this would be done by showcasing the latest innovations with the Flow Velocity Wind Trainer. For Under Armour, it's incredibly important to ensure that we have a presence throughout the funnel. We wanted to maximise quality reach amongst our target audience, but also deliver a strong message association in order to close the loop by turning those engaged users into purchasers. For brands like Under Armour, we don't have disposable budgets, so we need to make sure that our media and creative work smarter and harder than ever before. Whilst we do already have strong creative assets, given the athletes that are within the Under Armour portfolio, we really want to make sure that the creative is taken to the next level in order to cut
short because the results are so good you want to get to them quicker. But what was the solution? We leveraged lots of contextual data, so things like time of day, weather, where you are in the UK or globally, things like rotation, so how many times you had heard the ad, to make sure that every time you was exposed to it, you heard something completely different. Because that's the biggest gripe with broadcast advertising, right? Is that you're hit with the same message over and over again. And that's actually the definition of insanity, isn't it? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different. So really, let's take advantage of everything that we have in the contextual space. And then once we had created our solution, we thought this is so important for Under Armour because they really wanted the brand to fit in with the consumer mindset and moment and not the other way around. We shouldn't be shoehorning consumers into that brand strategy and approach. It should be the other way round. So actually, people say to me, Zoe, if we're using data, does it mean really dull and boring creative? And no, gone are those days as well. I believe it so passionately that I can finally say it for a bit louder at the people in the back of the room, because I haven't been able to do that on Zoom or Google Hangouts or whatever you've been using. Using data doesn't mean dull. It's like the creative gold mine at the end of the rainbow. You can do so much with it, and if you are not using data in your creative, then you will get left behind. So let me show you what the audio ad sounded like, and then shortly after I'll play the video of how we reuse those assets across the video space and had the addition of some video blocks as well.
What do you notice when you first run in a pair of Under Armour Flow Velocity Wind? It might be the feeling of running with the wind at your back.
Oh, it's great to be up.
Perhaps it's the sensor synced to your Map My Run app for real-time coaching. More likely, they simply help you run further and faster. Every single morning. What you say in London?
That's a fast time.
The Flow Velocity Wind. Our fastest running shoe could be yours too.
So now let me show you the video ad. So listen out for all of those audio lines that you just heard.
Want to run faster in this spring sunshine? The Flow Velocity Wind from Under Armour. Innovative, responsive cushioning. Connects to Map My Run for tracking and analysis. What you say in Glasgow? Click here to order. Want to run faster in this spring sunshine? The Flow Velocity Wind from Under Armour. Innovative, responsive cushioning. Connects to Map My Run for tracking and analysis. What you say in Glasgow? Click here to order.
So it was an amazing campaign and really, really efficient. So creative, saving you time, saving you money. What more can you want? And it had brilliant results, which is a lovely segue into the lovely Emma telling you what exactly they were.
So at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie, and these results speak for themselves. Looking at dynamic audio, we generated over 46,000 possible ad variants and saw a completion rate of over 95%. Complementing this with a brand effectiveness study we ran with a test research, which showed that out of those respondents that noticed the personalisation in the ad, 64% had an overall positive brand perception of Under Armour, and 81% said that they consider buying the Flow Velocity Wind Trainers. Tick and tick against those KPIs. Now for dynamic video, we generated 4,320 ad variants, and when comparing the dynamic creative to our standard creative, we saw a stronger completion rate and website engagement, proving that personalisation really is key. The research study with a test was also implemented for our video, and of the people who saw the dynamic video creative, we drove a 69.9% brand favourability and a 74.6% purchase intent, so double tick and tick. Overall, this campaign was an incredible success for Under Armour to achieve their goals, plus has led to an even stronger partnership with 1 Million Ads and Digitas, to which we are currently in the planning phase for our next campaign.
Amazing stuff. So we really made the most out of our media budget and our creative budget. But most importantly, we had a creative that really transcended that media channel. And the reason that's so important, as I've already mentioned, is because you need this to create, those really long-term, fingerprints and footprints on your consumers, because you want that brand identity to be sustained across multiple channels. So to wrap up, why is it so important that you use personalization? And it's really important because personalization is part of our human evolution. It's in our past, so inherently it's going to be in our future. So let's, as advertisers and as brands, use that some more. We have so much data at our fingertips. Be really efficient with media budgets, with creative budgets, really bridge the gap between data and creativity. But most importantly, put the consumer at your heart of the advertising, because at the end of the day, we're all consumers as well as marketers as well. So if you don't want to be left behind and left to the back of that race, take some details down, give us a call, and we've also got a picnic tent out the back as well. Thank you very much for listening.